Hello. I think everyone else should say hello as well.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
We got away from Kerry. I think we're going to get away from Chrissy at some point. I don't know if Chrissy's frozen. I can't quite make it out. I don't know where she is. And we've also got myself and Tommy. So hello and welcome to Under the Brolly Live. This is the MyUmbrella podcast, which is aiming to educate and inform the wider community about the lesser-known LGBT plus sexualities, genders, identities, kinks, and fetishes. Quick bit of background about who we are, what we do. So MyUmbrella, that's us, hello. We are a volunteer-led support group which are based in Reading in Berkshire, and we are being formed in order to represent the lesser-known LGBT plus identities. I will notice that Kerry's eating something. I'll come back to that in a minute. We were launched by Agender Pride in 2015, and our aim is purely to educate, support, and to socialise, hence the reason why we're doing this. We also aim to signpost those individuals who require the support and advice from other organisations to the relevant services as well. So here we are. Probably wondering why we're doing this, and the reason why we're bringing our wonderful and entertain to maintain a healthy mind and to stay positive. And sadly, with nearly all Pride events in 2020 looking as though they're either postponed or likely to be cancelled, we know that many of you will feel a major part of your social life will be affected this summer. So while you may not be able to join us with the running of our workshops and attend some of the stalls and some of the events that we do at Pride events that are local to you, we've decided to bring you the next best thing, which is ourselves to you. So all of our hardworking volunteers live streaming these Under the Brolly live episodes to help to reach out to those individuals, the lesser known LGBT plus identities, and to highlight some of the not so well known events in the LGBT plus calendar that would normally be covered by Pride events, to try and bring a little bit of colour and education and loveliness into the world. I think that's probably a nice thing to kind of start with, isn't it?
It is indeed.
There we go. So each of us have got our own backstories as well, which if you go all the way back to episode 1, you'll find out a little bit more about us as well. They are available, so do feel free to have a look at the back catalogue. And even better, you can get involved in this. Now, you'll notice that my beautiful co-host here, and also I'm pleased to say my lover, Tom, is a fashion reference there, is currently on the laptop looking at the live messages that will be coming through, which you can put on the Facebook page. So if you're watching this on Facebook, get yourself on Facebook, bang some comments in. We will read them out. If you want some shout outs, we do shout. We love doing shout outs. Anything to pad the episode would be amazing. But also at the same time, you can get involved by emailing us as well. So if you want to get involved in what we're doing, what we're saying, or if we've said something that you don't understand, you want us to re-elaborate, we will do that. So if you want to, you can drop us an email to info, that's info, at myumbrella.org.uk. You can tweet us as well, so you can find us on Twitter. You can start your tweet hashtag Under the Brolly, and our Twitter handle is...
sorry, quite unaware. It is MyUmbrella UK.
There we go, so at MyUmbrella UK. Please drop your comments in the live stream. We would love to respond to all of them, and we'll do our very best to get through as many of these as possible. You can also find us on all good social media platforms to include Meetup, Instagram, Twitter. Are we on TikTok? No, thank God.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Are we on Snapchat? No, thank God for that. Brilliant. Okay, so we're doing quite well. So we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, and we have got Twitter. Okay, and also if you look at the very top of our frame, you'll see along here, my hand's probably out the frame now, but yeah, up here somewhere, you'll see that there's other ways of contacting us as well, which is lovely. Anyway, I've rabbited on a bit because I drew the short straw, so I'm going to do a quick pass around so you can meet the MyUmbrella team. So, Chrissy, one of our founding members, give us a wave. Hello, Chrissy. You're right. Is our founding member who I love catching you anywhere when you're having something to eat or drinking something. So, give us a wave, Kerry, love. No, she's wonderful people, wonderful, delightful people. Now, I don't know, we have got Mikey in our fourth window as well. Mikey is producer Mikey. He is our Reading Pride trustee. He aims to try and keep us all in check and make sure that we're well behaved, and we don't. So there we are. Mikey, give us a wave.
Hello, and hopefully you can hear me this time.
Yes, we can. We can hear you. If we choose, well, we can hear you. If we choose to notice you, we will. But we will do our very best because you are here to keep us all. And yeah, that. There we go. And there's me. There's me and Tom. We're in Studio A, which is in Weston-super-Mare, down on the south coast, which is absolutely beautiful yesterday, and it's chucking it down today. So I want to go out. I really want to go out, but I think that's been put to a stop by Mr. Johnson. Anyway,
we have got some interesting people in the chat room.
Go for it. Who have we got? There we go.
We have hit the heady heights of 25 people watching
that's
live.
an eye-watering number.
Hello to all people watching in the future who are watching this on catch-up.
Yay!
Which you can watch all the previous episodes as well.
We're not on Dave, are we?
No, we're not on Dave.
Good, cool.
We've got many people watching. We've got Jackson who says, hey.
Hey, hi, Jackson.
We've got Emily who says, hello.
Yeah, hi, Emily.
We've got Kerry and MyUmbrella, which is us. We've got Lucy. We've got Stephen Ikura. And we've got many others watching as well. So please give us a wave and an emoji and a hello.
We've definitely got lots of friends of the show there, haven't we?
We certainly do.
Yes, we certainly do. Absolutely amazing. So this is quite a fun show today because there's two things we're going to cover in today's show. And one of them is about Agender Pride Day. Okay, and we're also going to be covering IDAHOBIT, which is a fabulous acronym. And I'm going to throw it out to who am I going to throw it out to? Oh, do I put Mike on the spot? No, that's really cool. Don't look at me like that, Chrissy. I can see you scowling at me. Okay, so Tom, what does IDAHOBIT stand for?
Oh, International Day Against Homophobia.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Homophobia is H-O.
Yeah.
Biphobia, B-I, and transphobia.
Yes.
There we go. I did a good.
You did a good.
I got confused, so I thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought the O was an individual letter. And I was like, what does O stand for? I was like, overtly homosexual. Also, hi to Lucy from Australia.
Oh wow, as far afield as Australia. Hi. Amazing. Howdy. Is that Australia?
That's not Australia.
It's not Australian, is it? I am so sorry, Lucy. What did they say? G'day.
That's it.
There we are. What's howdy? I have no idea. Anyway, there we are. Fantastic. This is marvellous. Okay, there we go. So this is us. This is who we are. This is what we do. Okay, so brace yourselves because we're going to be throwing you some factoids as well during this episode on all the wonderful things about Agender Pride Day and IDAHOBIT, which is going to be coming up, or in fact will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. So who am I going to throw the first one over to? I believe that I am going to be throwing the first one over to you.
Yes. Hello. Sorry, again, caught unaware. So, you may notice that behind our glamorous assistant, Christy has got a fantastic flag.
There we go.
That looks like you've fallen off the bed. So that is the Agender flag. And some people might be thinking, what is the Agender flag and where does it come from? What is Agender? And these are all good questions to ask because that's what we're here for. And some people have said previously in previous episodes that some of the words that we use you may hear, but you may not fully know what they mean. So we're here to help you with that. And please do not be afraid to ask questions.
Ooh, yes.
Anything is absolutely fine. Obviously, if you want to keep anonymous, then message us privately and we can keep your name from being mentioned.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to just chip in as to what their understanding of agender is? Because it's actually really straightforward, and I didn't realize how simple it was in terms of the definition.
Basically, genderless.
Go on, Chris. Go on, Chrissy.
Genderless.
Genderless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, basically, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's it. Right. Okay. Well, we've got another 40 more minutes for the episode, Chrissy. Thanks for that.
So it is literally genderless without gender. So in the same way as you can have
aromantic.
I was thinking of like apathetic.
That's not a gender.
No, but there's words that have a at the beginning. So like you can be a thing or you can be a thing. So you could be sexual or asexual. Gender and agender, so it is without gender.
Is it almost like an anti thing?
It's
not, you're not
antithesis. So yeah, I mean, so it can either be seen as like a non-binary gender identity, or people might want to use it as kind of like a statement of saying that they don't have a gender. So you could use it almost to describe yourself as being that neutral area. So you're not one or the other. You're not in a binary, which is where it gets a little bit where it can get confused with being non-binary or being gender fluid. It's a totally separate thing, but there are similarities. So what is different with being agender is that you can still have additional identities on top of that. So you might still identify as trans. You can always be a sexuality on top of that. So you might be without gender, but you might still be heterosexual, or you might still be asexual. So those two things are completely separate. And on top of that, in 2010, there was a discrimination survey. I don't know if there's been one since, but apparently 12% of transgender people at that time identified as gender non-conforming. So it was, even though there are people who are identified as trans, it wasn't a polar kind of going from one to the other. It was a grey area, and that was more what agender is trying to encompass. So with that in mind, we've got Agender Pride Day, which is on May the 19th. It's right in front of me. Yeah. So the first one of these was held in 2017, and the reason for that was because there was trans awareness days and there were different gender awareness days and pride events, but there was nothing specifically for agender people. So a feminist in America who was called Ashton came up with the idea of there being an Agender Pride Day, and they set it in May of that year, 2017, and of course has been one every year since then. So looking through, I was saying this to Steve earlier, what's really interesting about the agender identity is that when you search online for information on it, there isn't that much readily available. There isn't like a sort of an agender forum or network in the same way as you've got Stonewall or Avon or Mermaids or whatever. There isn't a specific kind of place to go. So a lot of people are doing blogs and YouTube videos and stuff. And when I was searching for it, especially on social media, the first few results that have come up would be MyUmbrella.
Woo! Yay, we did a thing.
So it's difficult to find stuff outside that, but I managed to find a few bits. So generally, things have been quite small scale. There's been some YouTube blogs, there have been some talks, there have been different events that have been quite small scale. Obviously, less will be happening this year in terms of out in the real world, if you like. It's going to be mainly online, but it also means it's worldwide, so people can still get in touch with people internationally. So this year, I couldn't find any specific events that are going on, but it will be being held on the 19th of May. We'll be putting out some posts on social media as MyUmbrella. And if you identify as a gender, or you know someone who does, we would really love to hear from you. Maybe if you can give some sort of, even if it's anonymous, some sort of experience or something you'd like to share with the community, because it's definitely one of those identities that needs a little bit more awareness for people to understand it and to be aware of it in general, because go back 10 years, asexuality was in that same position, and now it's gone to being one of the sort of bigger events. Or better known identities. Would you like to be my model again?
Oh, go on then.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Actually, well, we've got two here. So
we've
Chris,
got two.
Chrissy
We've got
can
one
be
Chrissy.
Chrissy can be.
I'm just waiting to see Chrissy's legs disappear off the bed, which just completely falls off.
So just because two's. There we go.
You got upside down now. There you go. Right.
So this is the agender flag. So this pride flag was created, we actually know who created this one, and it was created by someone called Salem, not the cat from Sabrina, and it was first used on the 18th of February 2014 in their own, I believe it was Tumblr, it might have been another blog sort of place. And there's been a little bit of controversy because of the colour combination. It's not the most pleasant combination of greens and greys, but there's a reason behind it. There's 7 horizontal stripes. The black and white ones represent an absence of gender, those ones. The grey one represents a semi-genderlessness, and then the central green one represents non-binary. And it was interesting because the same year this flag came out, if you ever see the aromantic flag, there's 2 versions, and the one they actually ended up choosing was quite similar to this one. So again, it's got that kind of A side to it. Thank you very much. That's lovely.
Thank you very much. There you go. So I'm back now. I get more screen time. Yay!
So if you are agender or know anyone who is, congratulations on having that day at last, because we need to have more awareness of agender. Agenderism, is that the word? I don't know how
Agenderism.
Yeah. So yeah, that is happening on the 19th of May. We'll be putting stuff on social media. and we'd love to hear from you. If you are in the chat room and want to say hello from your little world and let us know what you identify as, that'd be amazing, because it'd be great to hear from someone if you're agender.
Oh god, yeah, absolutely.
And we have actually got some stuff in the chat room as well.
Fabulous. Let's do some shout outs.
We've got Teresa and Aaron. Hello.
Oh, hello, friends of the show there. Thank you. Hello, Teresa. Hello, Aaron.
Wilma.
Hello, Wilma.
Hello,
Wilma.
Hello.
Hello. Wow. I feel suddenly. I mean, this is like Pride royalty.
Well,
We've got Wilma watching us.
Well,
I'm gonna have to change my shirt.
So Wilma's obviously the queen of Reading Pride.
Very much the queen.
So in that case, we've got the prince of Reading Pride, which is Bradley Cooper.
Oh yes. Hi, Brad.
And then we've got Teresa. I said it before. Who else we've got? Lucy's saying that. Hang on, I went too far. Lucy's saying they're non-binary, I believe. Okay. Oh, and Louisa's saying hello as well.
Hi, Louisa.
We've got lots of likes and loves as well. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, everyone. We are doing this for you. Again, if anything that we've said doesn't make any sense, or you want us to go back over something, please do. There are plenty of us around here. If you want to ask any of us any questions, please do. I'm going to throw it out to the floor because me and Tom have done quite a lot of talking there as well. So out to Mikey, Chrissy and Kerry. As far as your understanding of what Agender Pride Day is, and certainly with the individuals that come and speak to us at many Pride events, I think we've only had a couple of people that really have come up to us that identify in a gender non-conforming sense. And I think most people tend to fall under the non-binary aspect or the genderqueer aspect, which seems to be something that's becoming a little bit more well-known, but not necessarily agender. What would you say to that?
Coming to me first, then, as the others are all very quiet. We do have one follower who was coming to our socials before, obviously, lockdown, who does identify as agender. But yes, it does go into what you're saying. It is a lot more people identify as non-binary, gender fluid, from what I've seen when we've been out and about on the road, than agender.
The thing is, I think gender itself as a concept, I mean, it's interesting actually, because when we talk about certain elements of sexuality, orientation, gender, etc., as soon as you start putting the A word in front of it, I mean, a lot of people would read that as, oh look, it's Agender Pride Day, which is just celebrating what agender is. So yeah, I'm a boy, I'm a girl, they've completely missed out the concept of it.
The space in between.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it really is important to raise more awareness of certainly the different constructs of what people understand gender to be, certainly with how better educated a lot of people are now about the different elements of gender and essentially how gender is made up. And this does lead on very beautifully to the fact that in one of our fantastic guide to LGBT pluses, which sounds terrible if I say it, pluses, but in the MyUmbrella guide to LGBT+, we have a fantastic depiction of what is our interpretation of the genderbread person. And it gives a really good insight and understanding into how gender is essentially applied in a way that it can be understood where you are either agender or you're something else. And I would recommend anybody that hasn't got a copy of this already to jump into our shop, which is www.myumbrella.org.
It's been around the longest.
www.myumbrella.org.uk/shop.
Thank you. Oh my word! How did I screw that up? I'm the one that came up with the blasted link. We've also got our mini guides as well that give you a really good understanding of it, and they're also available in the shop as well. They're a really good, helpful introduction to what we do, and you also get some fantastic supporters merch with it as well, with a badge or a keyring, some bits. So it's worth getting a hold of a copy if you haven't already got one. We would definitely recommend it. Anyway, so that is all about Agender Pride Day, which is coming up on the 19th of May. So for those of you that identify as agender, do grab yourselves a flag, do hang it outside your window on the 19th of May and celebrate and start getting people to ask you what it all means, because that's the only way we're going to start getting people to understand it, really. Yeah. It really is.
Don't be afraid to educate people, or absolutely. Even if it's not, maybe just letting people drop it into conversation, just casually. Also, hello to the people who have liked the video so far. We've got Louisa, Emily, Jeffrey, Bradley, Julie, Teresa, Bradley and Jackson. Also, hello to Kirsty as well. It says hi.
Hi, Kirsty.
And we reached 28 a minute ago. So obviously, I think last week, the last episode, we got about 600 people overall, which isn't bad.
Not watching at the same time.
We got about 80 on the Reading Pride page as well.
Not bad. I mean, at least people watch for a little bit.
Cool. I'm going to actually, just before we move on to our feature on the IDAHOBIT Day 2020, which is May the 17th. Oh, yeah, so you got it right. And you wrote it down. May the 17th is IDAHOBIT Day. I'm just going to throw, because I've asked Carrie and Chrissy essentially how they feel as far as Agender Pride Day suits as well. Mikey, over to you. As far as from a Reading Pride standpoint, where do you think we need to do more work as far as the visibility days? And in particular, I mean, one such as Agender Pride Day, which I'll be honest, until we started looking through the calendar, even I didn't know that there was actually an Agender Pride Day there as well. So clearly I need to do a bit more work on my research as well. Where do you think we need to do more work as far as the visibility days?
Well, to me, the Pride Days are really, really important, especially now all the physical events have unfortunately had to be cancelled or postponed. So awareness is more important than ever, and especially with the news of what's going on with trans rights as well, as there's a lot of blurred lines between trans, agender, fluidity as well, and it's really, really important to get these all,
Cool, brilliant. I think there is still more work to be done out there, and I think that the more that we can do to raise awareness, and the more questions that we can ask, and the more awareness of actually raising it, and actually for individuals that identify as agender to actually be really honest, and don't. Please do not feel as though you need to shut yourselves indoors and be an individual that keeps something like that to yourselves because you don't think enough people understand it, because there are plenty of people out there that are there for you to be able to help and support you. And we're here too. We're here all the time. Don't forget, you can always drop us an email to info@myumbrella.org.uk. We'll be more than happy to support and signpost where we can. In terms of what you may be going through, or even if you just need some more information, we've got plenty of resources available that we can send out to you as well. Cool. Anything in the chat room at all?
I was just having a quick look on there.
Yeah.
There's nothing new as such. I was going to mention as well that in conjunction with what Mikey was saying about there being no prize at the moment, looking like this whole rest of the year, we have got something exciting coming up, which will give us a tiny little nugget of something that is involved with a pride. So watch this space. We've got that coming up in a little bit, have we? Yes. We have. Yeah, there's a thing, isn't there? Do that and then do that.
That's a good idea. Cool. Yeah, okay, brilliant. Yeah, totally professional, completely. I'm already off script anyway. I'm not paying damn attention to the running order of the podcast at all. So I'm gonna crack on with my bit, if that's okay with everybody. Brace yourselves for this as well, people, because I'm going to be giving you some facts that they're not brilliant, I'll be honest, but there is a reason why I'm going to give you some not so brilliant facts, because I'm then going to tell you what the most wonderful thing in the world is that we actually do about it, which is the IDAHOBIT Day. So for those of you that are a little bit triggered by hearing, not negativity, I'll try and put this as best as possible, but what I'm going to do first of all is I'd like to show you all a map of the world. Now, I don't know how clear this is going to come out, but what I've actually done with this particular map is I have color-coded on this map all of the countries in the world where LGBT or being LGBT is criminalized. So I'm actually holding it the other way. It's all right. I was going to say that's okay. So I'm actually going to turn that. That looks terrible, doesn't it? So if you can see as clear as that is the world map, and every single area on that world map right now in 2020 currently identifies being of an LGBT orientation or sexuality or gender as a criminal act. In order to back that up and in order to identify that, I'm going to give you some key facts now. So brace yourselves. 73 jurisdictions currently criminalise private consensual same-sex sexual activity, and the majority of these jurisdictions explicitly criminalise sex between men via what they regard as sodomy and unnatural offences or laws. Almost half of them are Commonwealth jurisdictions. 45 of the jurisdictions that I've shown you on that map criminalise private consensual sexual activity between women using laws against lesbianism and sexual relations with a person of the same sex and gross indecency. And even in jurisdictions that do not explicitly criminalise women, lesbians and bisexual women, sorry, I missed a comment there, even in jurisdictions that do not explicitly criminalise women, lesbians and bisexual women have been subjected to arrest or threat of arrest. I've got to get this because it's going to trigger me otherwise. 12 jurisdictions in which the death penalty is imposed, or at least a possibility for private consensual same-sex sexual activity. At least 6 of these implement the death penalty, which is Iran, Northern Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. And the death penalty is a legal possibility in Afghanistan, Brunei, Mauritania, Pakistan, Qatar, and UAE. That's the United Arab Emirates. And lastly, 15 jurisdictions criminalise the gender identity and or expression of transgender people using so-called cross-dressing, impersonation and disguise laws. And in many more countries, transgender people are targeted by a range of laws that criminalise same-sex activity and vagrancy, hooliganism and public order offences. Those are some fairly hard-hitting figures there. And after you've heard those, and I'll show this map once again, you will understand the reason why the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Intersexism and Transphobia is important. And that's what I'm going to move on to. That is where the positivity comes after hearing those horrific statistics about the reason why it is so unequal and so unfair that individuals cannot be themselves. This is the reason why we celebrate the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, Intersexism and Transphobia on May the 17th. The International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, Biphobia and Intersexism is observed on May the 17th and aims to coordinate international events that raise awareness of LGBT rights, violations and stimulate interest in the LGBT rights at work worldwide. By 2016, the commemorations had taken place in 132 countries across the globe. The founders of the International Day Against Homophobia, as it was originally known, established the Idaho Committee to coordinate grassroots actions in different countries, to promote the day and to lobby for official recognition on May the 17th. The day of May the 17th was chosen to commemorate the decision to remove homosexuality from the International Classification of Diseases from the World Health Organization in 1990. Literally, only 20 years, no, it's longer, 30 years ago, okay? 30 years ago is when homosexuality was decriminalised. And to put that into a concept, you would have not been alive.
Would have been -1 month.
So you would have been -1 month, and I would have been, oh, crumbs, no, right.
6 or 7.
6 or 7. So, Louis Georges Tin was the founder of the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia and Biphobia. And for a long time in Germany, May the 17th had unofficially been labelled as Gay Day. And this was written in the date format 17.5. It had a natural affinity with paragraph 175 of the Penal Code and the rule dealing with homosexuality. Homosexuals back then were actually referred to as 175ers. The day as a concept was conceived in 2004, and a year-long campaign culminated in the first International Day Against Homophobia on May the 17th, 2005. 24,000 individuals, as well as organisations such as the International Lesbian and Gay Association, the International Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission, the World Congress of LGBT Jews, and the Coalition of African Lesbians signed an appeal to support the Idaho Initiative. That's a massive achievement for the period of time that's occurred from when that first started up until where we find ourselves at now. And the great thing is that the activities that took place on that day across all those many countries are absolutely huge. Now, I'm going to summarise just a few of them, just to make it really clear to you all exactly what we've managed to achieve and how we've managed to move forward from those numbers there that I've just read out, and how we're going to drive those numbers down if we continue to do what we're doing here. So in 2009, transphobia was added to the name of the campaign, and activities that year focused primarily on transphobia, so violence and discrimination against transgender individuals. That is a fantastic progress moving forward there. And a new petition was launched in cooperation with LGBT organisations of the same year, and it was supported by more than 300 NGOs from 75 countries, as well as 3 Nobel Prize winners. Now, I'm going to see if I can get their names right, because I wanted to make sure I give credit to these individuals. So the 3 Nobel Prize winners are Elfriede Jelinek, Francois Bar-Cincinnari, and Luc Montagnier. And on the eve of May the 17th in 2009, the same year again, France became the first country in the world to officially remove transgender issues from its list of mental illnesses. What a fantastic achievement from where it's moved on from where it is now. The Frenchman Louis-Georges Tin was the founder of the day and acted as its chairperson until his resignation, which was in September 2013. And he was succeeded by the internationally renowned Venezuelan trans rights activist, lawyer, and law professor Tamara Adrian, who became one of the first trans legislators in Latin America in 2015. I've got so much more on this that I can go through as well, but I do not want to bore the hell out of everybody. But I do want to just throw out a question to the team, just on their reflections as to how IDAHOBIT Day has evolved from what started back then to where we are now, and how you feel it's going to help drive those numbers down where it's still a criminal offence in so many countries to identify under the LGBT umbrella. Who wants to go first?
I've got something to add, but I'll let other people first.
Okay.
Anyone want to step in before?
Oh, go on, I'll step in first again. More to add to than drive the numbers down. Obviously, they've added trans, they've added bi, and with pressure from teams like us, adding more education and things like that, we can be adding in not adding letters as such, but forcing them to be looking at other phobias other than just homophobia, biphobia, transphobia.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're absolutely right. I think it is one of those things where it's one of those days which cannot just be it can't just be focused on one thing. It has to be a day that covers absolutely everything, and it is a day where the expectation should just be almost like a world equality day, that everybody just needs to understand it's important to just coexist. Look at the situation that we're in at the moment with so many people, so many countries, so many cities, towns, etc., all in lockdown, and you're now having to spend so much time maybe with individuals that you wouldn't have expected to have to spend so much time with. And especially if you're caught in a situation where you're in a household where you are having to keep your identity very much to yourself, which can be quite difficult because you need that outlet. And this is why this is important. It really is. I was
going to say as well, I remember the first time I came across IDAHOBIT, and that was when it was Idaho, which is International Day Against Homophobia, and that was in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when it changed, it had the Hobbit bit on the end. And I mean, I don't know how much further we can get until we get to IDAHOBIT app, IEQ, whatever. It starts turning something else entirely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like Chrissy was saying, it's been relatively recent, but already we're expanding it to include intersex and bi and trans and stuff. And the further it encompasses and encourages people to be aware of those different identities, it means that there's, even if we end up eradicating homophobia and transphobia, the other ones will then be the next pertinent issue. So it's one of those evolving things that will continue. And obviously, we're still very much in a, like those numbers show, there's still a lot of these issues around.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they go away, we can tackle the other ones as well. And I think the fact that we keep expanding it and including more and more identities is brilliant, because now people who are intersex or trans or bi have got that place and that awareness, and it will just keep on growing, hopefully. We have got some comments in the chat room as well.
Cool.
Kara has mentioned that a lot of what's come up from these numbers has been left over by colonial law from the British Empire. So some places used to be very liberal, etc., prior to their colonisation. People have said that, you know, it is quite depressing and progress is slow. But one thing we're going to show in a little bit in the sort of last segment is that this is why we have prides, and this is why people sometimes don't get people who are outside of the pride scene, or people who are not LGBT. They might say, "Well, why have you got pride? You're just shoving it down people's throats." I hate that phrase because it always sounds dodgy,
isn't it? Yeah.
And people don't know the history behind stuff, especially with stuff like this. You realise that those spaces are really important, and while it might feel like it is very glittery and very glamorous for some people, there's a bigger, deeper meaning behind it, and this is what's important. Jackson says that they're really thankful that their mother is very accepting. I couldn't stand having to hide my gay fury. I was going to say gay furry, then I genuinely thought it was furry. So also hi to Alexandra and Martin who've joined us.
Oh, hello.
On the back of saying about pride stuff, we have got something in place, because am I right in thinking, Mikey, that this weekend would have been a certain pride? Is it, what date would it have been this weekend?
No.
No, not this weekend.
So it's not this weekend. Okay, well, something was going to happen.
Last weekend would have been Exeter.
Ah, there we go. There we go. So last weekend would have been Exeter. I have got a couple more factoids as well before we move on, just to give you some amazing accomplishments actually that has been achieved, certainly as a celebration of May the 17th being IDAHOBIT Day, which is fantastic. So in France, same-sex marriage has been legal since the 18th of May 2013, and the decision was announced on May the 17th of the same year. What else as well? We've also got on Friday, May the 17th, 2019, Taiwan became the first country in Asia to legally recognize same-sex marriage. Activists in 100 cities in 50 countries participated with diverse public events spanning coloured balloon releases, dance flash mobs, musical events and performance and street art. And that was in 2013, on May the 17th as well. And then in 2012 and 2013, the Albanian LGBT activists have been organising an annual bike ride for May the 17th through the streets of the capital in Tirana, which is amazing, just fantastic stuff to just do this sort of stuff to raise amazing awareness as well. Going back a little bit further as well, common actions have included large-scale street marches, parades and festivals. And in Cuba, for example, Mariela Castro has led out a huge street parade in honour of May the 17th for the past 3 years. And in Chile, in 2013, 50,000 people took to the streets to mark May the 17th. That's 50,000 people. That's an eye-watering number of people to be out there saying, look, we need to make sure that we raise awareness of this because it's not right, and we need to do it, and we need to do something big in order to mark it as well. And that is pretty much it from me. I think there's only one more, which is quite a recent one, which is the Enforcement Act of Judicial Yarn Interpretation, number 748, that legalised same-sex marriage in Taiwan, was passed on the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia and Biphobia in 2019, and the law came into effect on the 24th of May 2019, that quickly. From the 17th of May to the 24th, bang, law was applied, which legalises same-sex marriage in Taiwan. Absolutely amazing. I take my hat off to you and to all those other countries out there. And if you're doing something individual as an entity in your own right in order to raise awareness of the IDAHOBIT Day, from ourselves at MyUmbrella, we absolutely raise our hats, we raise our glasses to you, we applaud you. Genuinely fantastic. Thank you for continuing to help fight the fight with us. We really appreciate it. And that's it. That's my bit on IDAHOBIT. Yeah, that was fun.
So we've got something to finish on. Mikey, would you want to just explain what the background is to this part? Because I know you've worked on it, so I want you if you'd like to just fill us in on what the story is.
So basically, Dan from Warwickshire Pride, couldn't be here with us as our actual guest, but he's done a nice little recording for us.
Oh, so Dan, another friend of the show, massive supporter of MyUmbrella. We absolutely love Dan. Amazing person. Thank you so much. I take it we just wait for you to hit the button then, Mikey. Oh, there we are. Then brace yourselves, everyone. Here we go.
If this all goes wrong. Oh.
Hi, my name's Dan. Thank you to all at MyUmbrella, the Under The Brolly podcast team, for inviting me to be part of this week's Under The Brolly podcast. So my name's Dan, and I am the current chair of trustees at Warwickshire Pride. Where is Warwickshire, you may ask? I'm often asked that when I go around the country or abroad or wherever it may be. People never seem to know where Warwickshire is. So it's a little county in the Midlands, south of Birmingham. It's famous for Shakespeare, probably most famous for Shakespeare. But of course, our little Pride Festival that we have each summer is catching up with that. So sadly, this year's Warwickshire Pride has been cancelled, like many prides, not just in the UK, but all around the world because of the coronavirus pandemic. Our festival wasn't due to take place until the end of August, but we didn't know what the situation was going to be like by then, whether things would be back to normal, whether we'd still have to social distance. And it made it very difficult to organise our Pride this year. All of our sponsors pulled out. We had stall holders dropping out, performers dropping out, and there was just so much uncertainty. And we thought, you know what, let's pull the plug on this year's festival. That way we know everyone's going to be safe. We can rebuild, gather ourselves together at the end of this year and start to plan for 2021, making it bigger and better. And I know a lot of prides are in the same situation, unfortunately. And that's really quite sad because, you know, Pride is not just a celebration of who we are. It's not just a celebration of our identities. Of course, it's a protest as well, but actually it's a vital outlet for a lot of LGBT plus people. And for some people, Pride is the only place they can go where they feel they can truly be themselves, be around other people who are like them, and feel safe and that they belong somewhere. And I know that some people have described our Pride as a lifeline, and I'm sure that's the case with just about every other Pride as well, the people that attend those Prides. So it's really quite devastating not being able to put on our Pride this year, as I'm sure it is for other Pride organisers as well. Something else that's been impacted by the coronavirus pandemic is our support services. So Warwickshire Pride isn't just an annual festival. We run a range of support services throughout the year as well. LGBT plus youth groups, a parents group, we have a learning disabilities group, we do coffee mornings, mental health support, all sorts of things throughout the year, which have unfortunately all had to stop taking place, at least face to face. A couple of weeks ago, we did manage to move some of our services online via Zoom and other platforms. So some people are still able to access the support that they need, but we do hope that eventually we'll be able to return to seeing the people we support face to face. Stopping our support services has had quite a devastating impact on the community that we serve here in Warwickshire, and the isolation, the lockdown, the social distancing has had a big impact. There are a number of people who have had to go back into the closet because they're living with family that don't support them, don't accept their identity. There are people who are just really struggling with being at home alone and not being able to go out and have contact with people. So we've seen reports of mental health issues really skyrocket over the last few weeks, and a number of LGBT plus people have been feeling quite suicidal as well, and resorting to self-harm and that kind of thing. So it's really quite a serious situation that many people in our community are in, and we're doing the best we can as a team of volunteers to support the community directly, but also to signpost and refer to other services as well. And I think that when this is all over, there's going to be an even bigger demand for our services. So we'll just have to do what we can with our limited resources and our limited people power to support these people in need. But something else I'm interested in that kind of ties in with the Pride work, but also with another hat on my head. So my role at Warwickshire Pride is voluntary. In my day job, I'm a therapist, a hypnotherapist. I'm also a qualified counsellor and psychotherapist. And one of my areas of focus is self-care. And it's definitely something that I niche and specialise in. Self-care, so helping people, encouraging people to take care of themselves in whatever way that may be. And it's something that ties in with the support that's given to the LGBT plus community in Warwickshire and beyond as well. So self-care is about taking care of yourself, essentially. It could be anything. So brushing your teeth each day is a form of self-care. Having a shower, getting dressed is a form of self-care. Making sure you drink enough, making sure you eat the right kind of foods, making sure you exercise, that's all self-care. But then, of course, there's things like mindfulness, relaxation, meditation, yoga, all those kind of things are self-care as well. Basically, it's anything that you do to take care of yourself. So what else I wanted to talk about in this video is how you can take care of yourself, and just to encourage you to do that, especially during lockdown and this isolation, social distancing situation. It's tough, isn't it? You know, being stuck at home, not being able to see people, not being able to socialize, not being able to access your usual support networks. But maybe it's also tough if you're still having to work, you know, if you're a key worker, still having to go to work, putting yourself at risk, wondering if today when you go to work, you're going to come into contact with someone who is infected with COVID-19. It's difficult. And, you know, I can understand the worry and the anxiety and the stress that this is causing people. So it's really important that you engage in self-care, that you look after yourself. So what I wanted to do is just to pass on some of my top self-care tips, really, that you can implement in your life to help you feel good, to help you feel better, and, you know, get into that routine of making sure you are taking care of yourself. So my first self-care tip is to make sure that you are getting up each day and having a wash and getting dressed, and, you know, make sure you're sticking to that routine. You know, having a regular getting up time, a regular going to bed time, and just making sure that you make an effort still, that you don't let your usual standards slip. So get up, brush your teeth, have a shower or a bath, a wash, get dressed, and have some normality in your life in that respect. You'll feel good for having done that, feeling fresh, feeling like you've made an effort with yourself in that day. Which leads to the second self-care tip, which is to have a routine. It may be that your routine is quite different to the one that you have been used to, particularly if you are not at home, not at work at the moment. So make sure that you keep your routine, that you have a set getting up time each day, that you go to bed at a reasonable time. It may be that you plan what you want to do each day, and that's something I do. I have it right here on a bit of paper telling me what I'm going to do each day, just so that I have some kind of routine and I know what's coming up, that I don't feel lost or get stuck in a rut. So have a routine. The third self-care tip is to make sure you stay connected with people. So social distancing doesn't mean that you can't still speak to your friends or see your friends or your support networks or your family or whoever it may be. It's really important to stay connected, and there's technology that can help us to do that. There's Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever it may be. There's all sorts of ways in which we can stay connected and talk to each other. Being at home, even if you're at home by yourself, doesn't mean that you have to be completely isolated. Social distancing doesn't mean that you can't be social with people. There are all sorts of things happening online that you can get involved with. I know that my mum takes part in an online rave every Friday night. She gets a few drinks in her and dances while this DJ plays to whoever's tuning in. And there's things that we're doing at Warwickshire Pride to help people stay connected as well. So next week we've got a Zoom party with music playing and that kind of thing. We've got a coffee morning that's happened this weekend, as well as our regular trans group has gone online as well to help that community stay connected. And then on Monday we've got our first online mental health peer support group happening. So there are all sorts of ways in which you can stay connected, and I'd really encourage you to make sure that you stay in contact with your friends, your family, your support networks. You could actually really help each other to get through this situation. And my final self-care tip, for now at least, is to know when to get help. So if you're struggling, it's really important that you reach out and talk to someone, whether you talk to a friend, whether you talk to someone in your family, or whether you seek professional help, or whether you reach out to your local LGBT plus organisation. And seeking help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a strength, because you've recognised that you're struggling and that you need help with something in your life. And talking about it can, does, and will help you. So if you're struggling, reach out and talk to someone. They say a problem shared is a problem halved, and that can absolutely be the case. Feeling that burden and lift from your shoulders, no longer having to keep it in and struggle and suffer. Help and support is out there, so do access it if you need to. So I think that's all the self-care tips I have for now. I think they're the most important, the most basic ones to put in place. And I hope that you'll follow those and implement them in your lives, and that they help you to take care of yourself a bit more. So again, thank you to the team at MyUmbrella, the Under The Brolly podcast, for inviting me to be part of this and to record this segment for the show. MyUmbrella, the team, actually come to Warwickshire Pride each summer, set up their stall, and they facilitate our trans chill out zone, which sadly isn't going to happen this year, but I know that they'll be there in 2021, and I personally really look forward to inviting them to be part of our Pride again. So again, thank you for allowing me to be part of this podcast, this fantastic show that you're doing for the community. So if anybody wants to know any more about self-care or the work that Warwickshire Pride does, you can find out more about Warwickshire Pride at warwickshirepride.co.uk. And we also have a group on Facebook that's any LGBT plus person can join, actually. It's a mix of social and support stuff, and the group is actually called Warwickshire Pride Social and Support Group. So if you search for that on Facebook, you'll find it, and you're welcome to join. And also I run the Self Care Club. If you put the Self Care Club into a Facebook search. That will come up as well. And I know some of the Under The Brolly team are in that group, and you'll be very welcome to join as well. And it's all about helping you to take care of yourself, positivity, and making the most of ourselves and our lives. So I hope to see you there. And I'm going to sign off now. Thank you again for listening, for letting me be part of this, and take care. Bye-bye.
Wow. What a lovely human Dan is. Are we all back, guys?
Yep.
Yeah. I think that was a fantastic message. And I think, in all honesty, some of the fantastic pieces of advice that Dan included in there really is. And it sounds like really bare bones stuff, and it almost sounds like common sense. But in the nature of what we're actually doing with lockdown, it is a little bit too easy just to be able to roll out of bed, especially if you're working from home, stick the laptop on, 5 to 9, your hair's a complete mess, and you just carry on just doing your work like that. And you're almost out of that routine where you're not kind of getting up and functioning for a purpose. And I'm going to share something with you that I do that you find hilarious. But I work from home 2 days a week. So I work in my office Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday, I work from home. Friday, I don't work at all. And on the Wednesday and Thursday, when I wake up at home, I wake in front of my screen, and I can then actually almost normalize and feel like I'm delivering something that I should be doing as part of my normal routine, and that helps me to cope. And I would reach out to everybody out there and encourage people just to do the same, just to give yourself that little bit of normality and almost like standardize your day. And one of the really, really sweet things that I've just seen come up in the comments, and I want to say a shout out to Jackson, is absolutely lovely, because one of Jackson's comments, really sweet, was, watching this podcast is self-care. And that's really hit me quite hard, actually. That's one of the sweetest things ever. And we really appreciate that. We do this as volunteers to reach out to people, just to let you know that we're still here. We might not be at your local Pride event, and we might not be in person, but we are absolutely here if you need us. So you can reach out to us if you need to. All of us can do video call. All of us can do email. We can all do Twitter. We can do Facebook. If you need something from us, or you think that talking to one of us is going to help, then get in touch. Absolutely get in touch. Please, please do. And also apologies for any background noise as well. Some of our microphones won't mute straight away, so do forgive us on that.
Also, if you like the look of some of those photos that appeared in that video, they were actually taken by one of our, well, I don't know if all of them were, but quite a few of them were done by Pride Pics, and in particular, Kerry, who is on our screen. So congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you very much for...
Congratulations.
They were all my ones.
So you were saying about people getting in touch.
Yeah, very much.
How do people get in touch, Steve?
Okay, so you can email us, which our main inbox is info, that's info, at myumbrella.org.uk. It's answered by a real human being. It doesn't disappear off into the ether and then get lost. We actually respond to it. So you can email us info at myumbrella.org.uk. You can also tweet us. Our handle is at MyUmbrella UK, and start your hashtag with Under The Brolly, or whatever you like, really. Under The Brolly. Under The Brolly. Under The Brolly. The Welsh version. You can also contact us through our contact link on our website, which is www.myumbrella.org.uk. And also, if any of what we've said or any of what Dan said has sparked an interest in anything that you might be questioning with yourself currently, then you can also find our guide to LGBT+ on our online Etsy shop, which you can get to through the MyUmbrella website or through the direct link myumbrella.org.uk/shop. That's SHOP. We're almost done, aren't we? We've done quite well. Look at this. I mean, I've kind of stuck to the running order.
A big thank you to everyone who has joined us.
Oh, massive thank you.
And who has commented and who has liked and shared.
Oh, yes.
So just to recap, we've got Jackson, Louisa, Emily, Jeffrey, Bradley, Julie, Nikki, and Teresa who have all liked us. And thank you very much to everyone
I thought
who
you were going to
commented.
break into song then.
And also to all those people watching in the future who are catching up and they've discovered us in the future and watching back on the other episodes.
Yes.
So hello to all of you people.
Absolutely.
I think that is all.
I think it is. Just to finish off, a couple more dates for the diary. So we've already said that you've got Agender Pride Day on the 19th of May. We've got IDAHOBIT Day on the 17th of May. Pansexual Visibility Day on the 24th of May. We've got the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shootings on the 12th of June. It's Mikey's birthday on the 21st of June, and it's also the anniversary of the Stonewall riots on the 27th of June. So we've got
my
a fair
birthday
bit.
was get missed out?
Yeah, when's
What?
Kerry's birthday?
We didn't include it in the last running order. I'll write it down in biro now. When's your birthday, Kerry?
It's the next podcast.
It's not, is it?
2 weeks
It
time.
2 weeks
is.
time. Hang on a second. We'll make sure that we cancel that then. Right, there we go. We love you. When is it? I can't even remember. 24, is it?
It is Pansexual Visibility Day.
It's not, is it?
It is.
Dedicated to you.
What a day.
Whoop, whoop.
What an amazing day.
Awesome.
So all it leaves for us to say is just to say thank you to absolutely everybody who's interacted with us during today's show and making it worthwhile us actually turning the webcam on. So thank you very much. That's really appreciated.
So stay safe and stay alert.
Oh, yes, please do.
They've got to stay alert.
Stay alert, stay
Yeah.
I
safe.
have one very, very, very quick little shout out. I have just spotted that Dan Ellis is watching.
He's not.
He is only the
Go on.
Dan Ellis. So Dan is ex-forces, and I just wanted to give him a little shout out to say his VE Day celebration was absolutely beautiful.
Oh, that's so
Him
lovely.
in full military gear with his bugle in his garden. It was absolutely beautiful.
And also, I think that's a brilliant point, Meds. Well, we hope collectively that you all had a wonderful VE Day social distance celebration yesterday, and that
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Oh, wasn't it?
Yeah.
God, I've lost a whole day. Oh, well, we hope you had a fantastic VE celebration on Friday, and that you weren't too hungover on the Saturday. There we are. See, I've recovered. Okay, there we go. I think that's it.
We'll see you in
Anything
2
for anyone
weeks.
else?
I think that's.
I think that's it done. I'm determined to see if I can get Mikey to sweat. I'm going to see how far I can overrun before he cuts me off. But I think
stopped it.
Tell us a story, Steve.
Thank you, everyone. You've been amazing. We love you all, and we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast on the 24th of May.
Kerry's
Take care.
birthday.
Kerry's birthday.
Bye.
Bye.
Now don't be afraid. Don't let things stand in your way. Now you've reached the time in your life when you just can't take no more. Are you ready to leave? 'Cause you can no longer breathe. You can't hide or disguise what it is that you want to change. Well, don't hold back. Make up your mind. Don't hold back. Stand up for your trans rights. And don't you feel ashamed. Stand up for your trans rights. And do it, do it, do it, do it.
You don't have to be trans or LGBT to stand for our basic human rights.